All right. So first of all, thank you so much, Daleen, for having me to present and having ASG to present about student engagement efforts. So I'm going to cover a little bit of what I talked about in Dr. Van Hook's Flex session if you were there. But this entire year has really been about adapting to student needs and just meeting them where they are, as many of you have resonated with. And so I'm going to go on to my next slide here. Hold on, having a little bit of difficulty. There we go. Okay, so it wouldn't be an ASG presentation without some refunds. Come on. So we have been resurging in our campus community. I don't know if any of you are on campus right now. I see some offices, but if you look outside your window, you'll see something that you don't see very often, and it's students. They are here. There's thousands of them. I actually fun fact, took my very first in-person college class this morning. I took an anthropology class in West PE and it felt weird. I felt a little bit like a senior in high school, but also it was very, very exciting. I got to meet the people next to me. I got to see my professor like talking and standing, and it was just super awesome. And so that's just kind of the spirit that ASG is trying to keep in touch with going into the spring semester. And we want to build on a lot of things that our officers have been doing last semester. So I actually want to invite Sharika to come in and talk about some of the project that she's been working on. So Sharika is one of our cultural student involvement coordinators, and she has been working so hard in making the campus an inclusive, equitable, and culturally vibrant place and encouraging students to participate in that way. So Sharika, do you want to expand on some of the things that you've been doing in the last semester and what you hope to do in the coming semester?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Hi, I'm Sharika. So last semester we were working with what we had, which was mostly students being online. And so we played with like different formats for events. We began with Hispanic Heritage Month and holding two events that were online. We focused on music and art, and we had great dialogue with students about how their music and their art pieces allowed them to express themselves with their identity and just feel comfortable with themselves. And it was really nice to kind of like have people talk about their different experiences and just acknowledge each other. And later on in the semester, we also had an event for Native American Heritage Month where we collaborated with NAIA, and we had Indigenous vendors where we created dream catchers, and we talked about the significance and the importance of acknowledging the difference between cultural appreciation and appropriation. And we had amazing conversation again with students in person, given it was a little lower in terms of attendance, which was expected, but it was still a really like invigorating type of conversation that we were able to invoke within students.
You want to talk about any plans you have with Marianne for the next semester?
Yes, of course. So this February, with how unknown it is with the pandemic, we are kind of pushing back our Black History Month event to probably around April, which is like multicultural month. And this March, we are hoping to hold an event in commemoration of Women's History Month, where we are hoping to have some female staff talk about their leadership positions and how impactful it is for them to like own themselves and take on these leadership positions. So yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing and for giving that insight. So as students return to campus, we want to make sure that this feels like a very comfortable, very safe place for them to express who they are and their individuality. And Sharika and Marianne are doing a great job of ensuring that. Now, if you look towards the middle picture right there, you'll see some funky looking Oreos. And I want to talk a little bit about those because that was an online event put on by one of our social student involvement coordinators that are more focused on social activities, fun activities, activities to get students just really outside of the classroom mindset. And that was an event that we did around Halloween in which students got to pick up a pack of like Pocky and Oreos and a bunch of different candy. And they made these sort of like Frankenstein Oreo spiders, which were super delicious. And Lynn and Jenny put that on, and they put Halloween music in the background. They got to talk about their plans. And so even doing something like that in an online way can be engaging, as long as you create that community and you create that safe space. So that's something that our coordinators are looking to go forward with and to continue in a hybrid way going forward in the spring semester. I also want to direct your attention to those ginormous amount of blue bags that our advisors and a few officers helped put together for finals week. We want to make sure that students feel appreciated, and that we know that they're working hard, and that we know how much effort they're putting into their education. So as a part of finals, we put together a few snacks for them so that they could help themselves de-stress, help themselves get ready to take those finals. And so we love doing traditions like that. Because it's just a small way of saying thank you for being a part of this community, and thank you for giving yourself your best effort in achieving your goals. And so we want to continue to highlight students in that way. And then Joanna already touched on it, but we will be having Welcome Week. Last semester, Welcome Week had a couple hundred people in attendance across both campuses, and seeing as how our enrollment numbers have increased in person significantly, we're expecting Welcome Week to be a hoot. So even if you aren't volunteering, please come out and see the students and their smiling faces. It's going to be really, really exciting. Another thing that I want to talk about with, is it moving? Yeah. Another thing I want to talk about with student engagement is helping students getting engaged with their education and providing as many opportunities as possible for that. So I want to talk about some really awesome thing that last year's ASG Senate did, is that they approved a $19,000 budget increase to our ASG scholarships. And our executive board have actually just approved how we want to use that money. And so we are contributing $3,000 to adult learner scholarships. They're going to be in, all of these are in $500 increments to adult learner scholarships, $6,000 to special population and veteran student scholarships, $2,000 in a new scholarship called the Exemplary Student Scholarship. So the ASG noticed that we wanted to shine a light on students that are exceeding in a very well-rounded way at College of the Canyons, meaning that they're involved with campus activities, they're involved in the classroom, they're involved outside of the campus doing community work. We wanted to give those students a chance to shine, so we created 4 new scholarships that reestablish those opportunities that students could have to get engaged with that education. And then the rest of that funding is going to go to our continuing and transfer scholarships that are more general and applied to each individual major. And then the last 2 things I want to talk about are our high school outreach ad hoc committee and listening, which is part of our re-inspiring campaign. So we are looking to reach out to the high schools in the Hart District to encourage student leaders of those populations. We're reaching out specifically to their associated student bodies to encourage those student leaders to pursue their goals at COC. Because I think one of the misconceptions when you're in high school is that there aren't a lot of opportunities at community college, when in fact there are so many opportunities at community college, arguably more than a 4-year university. So we're going to be reaching out to those high schools, and we're actually going to plan a leadership training event for those high school students to inspire them to come to COC and develop their leadership skills to take on with them in their careers and the rest of their education. And then we had an event last semester called ASG Talks that we hosted about once a month, where we listened to students. And we said, hey, what are your issues? What are you going through right now? How can we help you? Because we noticed that because of the modalities that College of the Canyons is offering, because of how many different aspects of student life there is, because of how things have changed in the past 2 years, sometimes 15 people in ASG can't be representative of a 20,000 plus population of students. So instead of us speaking for them in our personal knowledge, we wanted to kind of get out and see what they can tell us, what insights we can gain from them. So we hope to continue to engage with them in that way so that we can learn more, and we can always be growing in our perspective and how we can serve students. So we're really excited for the spring semester, and I want to thank Dr. Maishki again for inviting us to share with you all. So thank you.